Welcome back, everybody. Hi,
Hey,
Aaron.
hi, Chris. Good to see you again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. We got a workshop coming up on Friday.
That's so
This
cool.
Friday.
I just, it's funny because I was just talking to one of my coaches, and this is confronting for me. I am in the midst of a
Mm,
new space for myself because I have
mm,
to. My the my coach was working with us on how to manifest,
hmm
right?
Yeah.
And how to manifest what you want. And her version of that, and
mm,
how she coaches people in that was, um consider that there's a multiverse,
hmm
right? Which, okay, Everything Everywhere All at Once won the Oscar, so there must be a multiverse.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it yet. No, I want to. But I
Chris.
saw Avengers with Doctor Strange, and I know it's a multiverse there too.
Okay, they're not the same. um you will love Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
And But consider as a multiverse, and there's a future self. You have a future self that's already achieved what you want.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, you already have what you want. In some version of reality, there is a you that already has it. If I haven't lost, first of all, if you're still listening to this podcast at all, I can't imagine that we've lost you on that sentence. So
No, because we've already been to the Woo Woo Woods.
exactly. So we have a little village in the Woo Woo Woods. It makes
That's
the Oregon Country Fair look like
yeah.
nothing, right? The village we have in the Woo Woo Woods.
That's right.
And
Agents like us talk about things like this.
exactly. So the exercise was that future self comes back to talk to you
hmm
and tells you how you did it.
mm
Like and so the question she asked, I'm just going to refer to my notes from the call. I took a lot of notes. Was, what did you stop doing and what did you start doing?
mm
What did you stop believing and what did you start believing? And
mm
what did you stop avoiding?
mm
And then we just journaled on that, right? So this just happened, so I haven't done anything deep about it. But the things that really popped for me was, I had to stop believing that, because I have never sold 100 houses in a year. I've never been like a you know agent, and that there are definitely cold spots in my business where from time to time I don't do any, like a month or two at a
Yeah.
time where I don't do deals. That 25 deals a year is somehow, inadequate to be a coach for anybody. And that,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, only making 500,000. That's really not, you got to be, why aren't you making 1 million? Like that kind of conversation. And that feels so real to me,
mm
like I said, I just wrote this down. So if I was on the edge of, if belief were a stick, as my wife would say, and one end of the stick is you don't believe it at all, and the other end of the stick is you completely believe it. It's,
mm mm
what end of the stick are you on? And on that belief that I can't make that contribution, I'm at a 9. I
mm
totally believe that's a belief that that's like gravity to me right now.
mm.
Uh, as I talk about it, it gets less,
Yep.
maybe it's an 8, but it's, you know, and then what do you have to start believing, and
Mm,
it's funny because there's a difference between belief and figuring something out.
mm, mm,
Because I could figure out, I've coached tens of thousands of people,
mhm,
and over the last 30 years,
mhm.
any number of which would report the unbelievable breakthrough transformative nature of the coaching, right? Of
Yep.
the work that I did, like that. I could figure that out, that the first belief is stupid, but it doesn't
Mm, mm,
make me the
mm,
logic
mhm,
and
mm,
the belief are not connected,
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Like I know I'm standing on a planet. I know I'm spinning around, the sun at 27,000 miles an hour or whatever it is, but I don't believe it.
Mhm.
I don't feel like I'm spinning.
Right. Right.
So the logic and the belief are unconnected. There's definitely something worth exploring there. So that's
Wow.
one thing.
Wow.
I stopped believing that. And then I started to believe, and this is definitely directly connected to what I just said, which is I started believing that I have a unique ability
Mm,
to connect heart and head.
Mm, mm,
that, it- yeah,
mm.
I don't really, I just think that's a really perfect way to say that somewhere and I had, that's like a 2 or 3
Yeah.
for me that
Yeah.
I believe that. I mean, again, I think that's probably accurate, but I don't believe it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, and then I stopped. What I did was I stopped avoiding, and my future self is telling me this.
Mhm.
I stopped avoiding doing the emotional work. I stopped avoiding doing the emotional work
Mm, mm,
that would have me release the judgment, shame, embarrassment,
mhm.
imposter syndrome ness of it all. And because I avoid doing that work,
Yeah.
I avoid doing the heart work. I got
Mhm.
no problem doing the intellectual work. I
Yeah.
can I can do the intellectual work all fucking day.
Yeah.
But doing the heart work,
Yeah.
and my future self was really clear. This was like a 1 hour conversation. I'm like, wow, did
Mm,
that come fast?
mm.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when I look at it objectively, again, this is head speaking.
Mm,
Um, I'm in this mission with you,
mhm.
which is as much about heart. It's literally beyond the transaction. I mean, it is fulfilling what your life's purpose is, which is a
Mm,
heart
mhm.
centered conversation. I'm in another separate coaching course with Jeff Wilmore, the one, he's been a guest on the show. And that is,
Mm,
again, bringing love to as the foundation of business.
mhm.
The training program I wrote, Level Up, is, about love. And now I'm working with Kelly, who's given me all this. But so
Mm,
from a head perspective, I've brought in heart workers to surround me.
mm, mm. Yeah, I love that.
I
Mhm.
mean, it's just,
Yeah.
I now am, if I avoided doing this heart work now, it would really be, I'd have to rail against 4 different constituencies
Mm,
of which I'm paying, either
mhm.
with time or money or both,
Mm, mhm.
uh, to avoid it. So I'm out to, you know, uh,
Yeah.
if anyone doubted that these calls were transformational for us,
Yeah.
right? They're not. This is, I don't want to say this is my therapy because that means and doesn't distinguish what therapy is.
You could
But
call it a
these are,
spiritual practice.
yeah, this is a practice for me to be self-aware and self-examine and go to work on what I want to work on. So, as much as coming out of the closet was a conversation with the woo-woo woods, it's connected to coming out of the closet as a
Mm,
heart-based
yep.
uh, human being,
Yeah.
giving up the embarrassment that I feel coming from a heart space.
Mm. One of the things that popped up for me as you were sharing was what happens with the existing dominant conversation in real estate about transactions, GCI, sales volume, units, buyers, sellers. That conversation is very much an intellectually dominated conversation. It's not, and the other thing I know just from my experience is that there's a lot of heart-centered agents who get into the gravitational pull of GCI, units, volume, sales, buyers, sellers, and have a hard time finding themselves in it. And so we, as heart-centered humans, often feel like we're imposters. Who am I as an agent, right? Because what's valued in real estate is sales, volume, number, unit, and production. And we don't, that's not our true north. That's not the cathedral we're building, which, by the way, is a nod to the workshop. But there is something else that is currency for us. There's something else we're here for, but the industry we're making a living in is dominated by a conversation called production, and it doesn't marry the head and the heart. It's very much a strategic, heady conversation in real estate.
Yeah, it's what came up for me there is, the well, I'd just be interested in, what it would be like to release myself from that struggle of heart,
Mm,
like just, coming at it from that heart space. Because who does, and was also our guest, was Michael Mayer.
Yeah.
And there's someone who's clearly generating, you know, a whole life, you know, there's the, you know, no resistance at all to love being the container for his business and what he's up to.
Right.
And, you know, has the production results of someone who's not resisting that.
Right.
You know, it's a
Yeah,
really great
right.
example of that, what that really looks like.
Yeah. There is a lot of freedom in so I used to have I've had several Reiki sessions done for me, and they were remote. They were quantum Reiki type sessions. And what the common feedback was, there was some kink between my head and my heart and my head. There was the image they shared was, it's like a straw going up, and then right about here above my heart, it gets kinked to the side and then comes back in. And which is so interesting to me, because it was not lost to me that I am a hugely big-hearted person who had my heart hurt enough over my life that I went to my head. I'm very well read. I've read a lot of things. I study. I pick things up quickly, intellectually, and I used that as a survival mechanism, like understanding things. What it undermined for me was my superpower, which is my heart. My heart is my superpower. Always has been, but I just underplayed it. It sat on the bench for a long time.
Yeah.
One, because it sucks to get hurt. But two, I didn't think it's what people wanted.
Right. I mean, you know, it's funny. It sucks to get hurt. I definitely have a very specific sort of winning formula event, you know, when I was 8, that let me know it's not okay for me to cry. It's not okay for me to be sensitive. And, you know, there's that, so I don't go there, you know, and then there is that space of, you know, I think the other piece is, Chris, this is really much more of a cathartic podcast, you know, session than we normally do, but maybe it's because I'm moving more into my heart. You know, sharing something less intellectual and more physical. I lost the thought. That's the second time I lost that thought.
It's whatever it is, it's cathartic.
Yeah. You know, what were we just talking? We were talking about.
Yeah, just getting hurt. And
I think there's a lot of energy and wasted effort in resisting. It's just such a stupid thing to say out loud, because now that I say it, it's like, yes, of course, there's a lot of time wasted in resisting. That's what resisting is. It wastes energy. That's brakes waste energy. That's what brakes do. That's what resistors literally do. They suck energy and they resist it. So of course, resisting doing anything would waste energy. It's interesting. So my resisting doing that. So, you know, when I look again, you know, if I just look at my performance, you know, as an agent or with my family or any place where, and you and I are always in a game, you know, an infinite game where performance is not capped.
Right.
There's no like top to, okay, well, now I'm done with excelling at my performance.
Yeah.
You know, I'm interested now in examining where my performance could go if I stopped resisting doing that work. And it's funny, I love this. God damn, my justification for not doing that work is I don't have the time.
Wow.
You know, I got rid of the app. I think I even did it because there was an app that would randomly ring a bell. And at that bell, you're meant to just take a breath. And it was so fucking annoying. I was like, I don't have time for that. To just breathe, you know? And and that's, you know, that's the other piece, Chris, that you know, the team I've assembled is screaming at me to do, or is inviting me to do. I don't think screaming is the right adjective there. Inviting me to do is to slow down. I think we do that work, we do that work of slowing down. That's, when we first introduced the idea of the community for an hour and a half, the idea was like, are you kidding?
It was, we had those conversations. Yeah.
An hour and a half. Right? What? And now we have a 3-hour workshop on Friday. But it's, what did you, I just really, what did you what did you have to stop believing? And what did you have to start believing? Really good prompts.
Yeah. Those are
really interesting prompts, it's just great. Cause that's, I don't know. There's just a lot in that to mine.
Interesting too, that if you were going to answer those prompts from headspace versus heart space, how your answers might be different, like if how you went into that exercise was, and you meaning you listening to this, how you went into those prompts, what did you stop doing? And if the way you thought about that was from SMART goals and to-do lists and 80-20 rules, and you're like, well, what I got to stop doing is, and you really could be with that question from an intellectual space.
Yeah, well, I think because I think that's the interesting the way she created it, because there's things you stopped doing and started doing, and then there's things you stopped believing and started believing. So you've got the head space, the doing space, and you've got the believing space, which isn't understanding. Now you could come at it like belief and understanding are the same, in which case you'd miss the boat,
right?
Because I know lots of stuff, but if I don't believe it, I don't do it. It's critical that you distinguish belief as that world in which how it feels, which is the thing wife works with me on all the time about which end of the stick are you, are you on the end of this? Because here's, that I have a unique contribution, unique, like like just even the word unique, right? I think that's the part that fucks me up.
Yeah. Because
really, I know that I have a contribution, and I know I have an ability to speak to heart and head. I know I have that ability, but unique, singular, only one. That's what unique means. There's unique is singular, it's unique. There's only one of it. And I don't have any problem looking out like Gary Vaynerchuk is unique. I don't have any problem saying that he's got a unique contribution to make. I don't have any problem saying you, Chris, have a unique contribution to make. I don't have any problem looking out in the world and seeing other people with a unique contribution to make. Tony Robbins, Tom Ferry, anyone, just name anyone, and that's unique. But when I look at me, I don't see it as unique. I don't, believe that. That's a belief.
Wow.
And intellectually, zero problem. I know that I'm unique. It's just zero problem intellectually understanding I'm unique. But emotionally, a belief, a feeling, I don't have that. I don't have that frequency of that. I don't resonate at that frequency that this is in fact a unique expression. We even had didn't we have this conversation about my being one of many?
Probably.
I think
in a podcast.
I was, it was a while back, but it was about
here we did.
Yeah.
Clips like crazy. So I'm sure you just
recently I don't remember. No. I haven't thought about this in a while, but that is really the space, the difference, that I'm one of many. That, when I go to a listing appointment, I'm like, yeah, you got options. I'm one of many. Like, when
I remember that. Yeah. Cause we were talking about our friend who was being successful with something. And
and I was like, oh yeah, I'm just one of many. That's the belief. That's what I believe. And I can't deny that I don't believe it just because I don't want to believe it, or because I have some intellectual understanding that that's not the case.
Right.
Yep. man, there is a lot of stuff in that mind to dig. We could do a whole workshop.
Well, yeah. And I know because we're getting close to the end here. I just want to maybe add that to me, this is why community matters so much, because
totally.
you can't just go to your journal and work that out for yourself. There's not like one journal entry that does that for you. There is and it's not to say you couldn't be in a solitary spiritual practice and find those answers. I think, in fact, that's how the Buddha got, the peace he got was from his own solitary practice. But to say that there is something valuable for me as a people-oriented person, surrounding myself with others we're in this inquiry together, it reflects something back to me, and it makes it makes me know that I'm not alone. But there's something about it that I earn. In some ways, I'm earning my belief. I'm earning the thing I believe because I worked for it. I didn't just get the shortcut or the hack or the cheap answer. I had to figure out, I had to show my work. Here's how I got here.
Yeah, because otherwise I don't know that it's a belief. And a belief is this is really good, where the beliefs come from, and what effect does community have on belief?
Yeah.
Where I have no idea what that even means yet, but there is something there, because that trauma that I had when I was 8, getting laughed at camp, or those things happen in community. That's a function of my responding to my environment.
Yep.
That my beliefs are a function of what are connected to my environment. They're not independent of my environment.
Yeah.
And there may be insights that I get in life, the Buddha under the tree, or Warner going over the Golden State Bridge, or whatever. That those insights provide a chance to interact with life in a new way, but it's the interacting with life in a new way that grounds that in a reality. Otherwise, it's just the Buddha didn't sit under the tree, get enlightened, and then shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
Yeah.
That wasn't the end of it. It wasn't, this is my insight. That's nice. That's my insight. Now my life is for having that make the difference in community. That then starts to shape a life. Now, I'm not going to pretend to have any insight into the life of Buddha, but as a metaphor, I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah. Well, somehow that conversation that he was after that experience found its way to us. Like, if he had not shared it, it wouldn't have spread. It wouldn't,
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, that's what I think is available for us that choose to wrestle with the way it is versus the way it can be, and work to integrate the headspace and the heart space so that it feels like an expression and not a grind. So,
great. Cool.
That's it. Yeah. Join
Excellent.
us. You guys can join us on our workshop on Friday. If it's past Friday at the time you're listening to this, just check I'll give you the link here, but check it anyway for the next upcoming workshop. You can go to repurpose.group/workshop. And that's it. Aaron, peace.
Peace.